Good evening again, wrestling fans, and welcome to the latest edition of Wrestle Talk Show. I again am your host, Joshua Zimmerman, here to bring you the latest and greatest professional wrestling news, bits, rumors, ins and outs, anything and everything wrestling. We cover it, or we do our best. Or not at all sometimes. But moving right along, our top story is the CM Punk storyline or reality. Is he really gone from the company with less than a month of his contract remaining? We'll have further details on that and a little bit of a discussion. But let me first start off by saying we want to thank you for our subscribers. We noticed an increase over the weekend. Thank you to all of you. We urge you to subscribe to our channel. If you like this video, we have over 120 up more exclusively at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CWE Company. And remember, while you're there, check out every video, comment on the video, recommend the video, like the video. The feedback helps our statistics, helps us grow, helps us become more your interactive wrestling review show. And that's our only goal here. Like I always say, I do this for pleasure and the love of the business. And you guys, as always. And like we always do, let's start off with your wrestling ratings for the end of the from Thursday and Friday, and then some show updates for you. So you'll be happy to hear about those. But give me 1 second to update something so the computer doesn't randomly shut off on me here. And we're pulling up our wrestling notes. TNA Impact Wrestling for June 23rd, 2011 scored a 1.17 cable rating.
Josh, make me a resume.
Yeah, write it up.
I don't know what I'm writing up.
Just give me your work experience in order of when you did it.
Okay.
Again, TNA Impact Wrestling for June 23rd, 2011 scored a 1.17. It averaged 1.6 million viewers. Now, the breakdown of those ratings, TNA Impact, well, you know that this week scored a 1.17. The first hour scored a 1.18, and the second hour at 1.17. The quarter hour rating showed little movement throughout the show. The low point was a 1.13 rating in quarter 7, and a high point was 1.23 in quarters 2 and 5. As part of a recent trend of Impact, starting with a below average first quarter hour rating, Impact opened with a 1.14 rating, and Impact closed with a 1.16 rating in the 8th quarter hour. WWE SmackDown for the next night, Friday, June 24th, 2011, scored a 1.73, or better known in the ratings world as a 1.7, and the show averaged over 2.5 million viewers. Now, I just want to take a moment and discuss how I think this is funny how thought, well, they're not letting it slip because it fluctuates, but I read the fine print on the agreement just like anyone else that reviews it, and they more or less guaranteed Sci-Fi a 2.0 average. So I just hope that it keeps fluctuating, because 1.7s, I mean, you're not too far off, and everybody has their bad days, but at least it's not Superstars getting 0.6s and it's no longer aired in the United States. So I guess it could always be worse. But I'm just, put it this way, I'm showing initial concern for a show that promised a 2.0, and with what SmackDown delivers. And just the fact that the company itself pushes Raw more effectively than they push SmackDown. In our show news, our channel has 8,917 views worldwide from all the videos posted on the site. We want to thank you for that. And we also want to thank you for now the 50 committed subscribers to our YouTube channel. And as I said before, you can do that by going to youtube.com/CWE Company. Catch up on the earlier episodes, even from the start of our show, and help us grow larger and better with every episode. As of yesterday, the male demographic accounts for 82% of our audience, while the female demographic is picking back up again. So thank you, ladies, with a rather strong. They were between the 8s and the 15s, and they pulled a strong 18% of the other part of the audience, but still male dominated. But wrestling and MMA always will. The key demographic remains the 45 to 54-year-old male-female demographic, makes up 45% of the total audience. Runner-up is the 25 to 34-year-old male and female demographic, making 20% of our everyday audience. But like I said, and I think I'm on to something there, the 45 to 54-year-old, some of it's got to be kids logging onto their parents' computers, because I think the 25 to 34-year-old would be a little stronger, considering what they aim for. In your wrestling news, Batista cites that the makeup we now know as Mason Ryan, is one of the reasons he left WWE. But will he return? And what is his future in TNA? Batista, former WWE star Dave Batista, who recently opened a Twitter account, says he's open to returning to WWE in the future, but he's not keen on the current PG product that contributed to him leaving the company last year. Bautista has also said he's absolutely not considering TNA. My apologies for that earlier there. Yeah, they're making fun of him. Bautista says he remains committed to WWE even if he's not working for the company. Quote, I keep getting asked about a possible TNA run, and the answer is absolutely not, Batista said. Quote, nothing against TNA, they've got some great talent, but even though I don't agree with the direction they've taken, I bleed WWE, which is why I've decided to sit it out rather than accept very generous offers from other promotions. Hope everyone can respect that. This is funny. This is kind of ironic. If you remember, we discussed a couple episodes back that the WWE creative team to this day is still creating backup storylines for Chris Jericho and Batista should they ever return. If you ask me, I think this Twitter may have answered the question. His MMA deal fell through. I don't think we're ever going to see Dave Batista as an MMA fighter. I think it's more likely he's going to come back head in hand, and they're ready for it. They've already spilled the beans on it. When John Piramini, I know I'm obliterating his last name, former WWE creative team member from 2009 to 2010, said they're constantly writing storylines for him. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised if his next phone call he gets is a very reasonable return offer from WWE. Vince doesn't beg for anybody, and right now what they've done to what they've built, Batista fits, but Vince right now has already had a year to run the product without him. But just this past week, they were chanting when Mason Ryan was out, we want Batista. So I say he's coming back sooner rather than later. CM Punk does a shoot at the end of Raw and then is immediately suspended by Vince McMahon. After Monday's Raw, WWE announced CM Punk has been suspended by WWE CEO Vince McMahon to play a Punk's work shoot. Comments on comments on Raw. The message posted on WWE's website reads, Monday Night Raw's abrupt conclusion last night was not due to technical difficulties. The decision to suddenly end the broadcast in that manner was made by WWE Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon, who gave this quote to WWE.com. CM Punk was suspended indefinitely for his unprofessional conduct as soon as Raw went off the air, end quote. With his WWE contract expiring on July 17th, one can only assume that this suspension effectively terminates CM Punk's tenure with WWE. But, fear not, for those who have bought non-televised tickets, an update was made the next day, today, this afternoon, which may or may not imply storyline this entire time. The latest storyline development in CM Punk's quote-unquote suspension following his shoot promo on Raw last night is Punk and WWE have, quote, reached an agreement, end quote, for Punk to fulfill his remaining dates prior to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view on July 17th. WWE's announcement, quote, softening their stance, end quote, on the storyline suspension is as of Tuesday, June 28th. WWE and CM Punk have reached an agreement that Punk will fulfill his non-televised live event obligations for the remainder of his contract through July 17th. Furthermore, both sides have mutually agreed not to disparage one another. Tough Enough contestant separates from husband Johnny Fairplay. Tough Enough contestant Michelle Deaton and former TNA personality and Survivor contestant Johnny Fairplay, according to Johnny Fairplay on Twitter, at Johnny Fairplay, he wrote, yes, quote, yes, I am separated. Michelle was served with separation papers on Friday. I wish her the best in her future endeavors. Treating a divorce like you're being cut from a promotion. Good for business, bad for business. Divorces, Kurt Angle, Bowflexes. Just throwing it out there. WWE announces the release. The WWE announced Saturday the release of WWE Superstar Chavo Guerrero. Saturday morning, WWE announced the release of longtime wrestler Chavo Guerrero on Saturday morning. WWE's official statement reads, quote, World Wrestling Entertainment has come to terms on the release of WWE SmackDown Superstar Chavo Guerrero as of today, June 25th, 2011. We wish Guerrero the best in all future endeavors. Prior to his release, Guerrero was a pro in the current season of NXT. Guerrero was also in a feud with Sin Cara on SmackDown before the program ended last month after a poor match at the Over the Limit pay-per-view. Guerrero, one of the longest tenured wrestlers in WWE, had been with the company for 10 years, dating back to WWE's purchase of WCW in 2001. Earlier this same day, or within the weekend, commented via Twitter that he wanted and asked for his release, citing he was unhappy with the company and felt like he was being underutilized. So basically, Guerrero gets onto his Twitter early in the morning. WWE comes to work on Saturday, that same day, and gives him what he wants. My outlook on that is you're losing a Guerrero, but the way they treated Guerrero anyway, I'd say it's actually good for him, if it makes any sense. Give me one moment to grab a drink here, folks. But what I'm getting at is you figure Guerrero's been there since the purchase of WCW. And another very special guest star is showing that he's keen with the WWE way or doing spots for him, but that's a surprise that we'll see for later in the show. But you figure a guy that's been with the company the longest, they would have done more with, and that's why I don't want people to think I make fun of or disrespect Big Show and Mark Henry and wrestlers like Chavo Guerrero, but they are doing more with Big Show now, and Mark Henry, they're kind of making a point about maybe it was to make room for him, but I don't know. They just kind of, to sum it up, after Eddie died, they took the Guerreros. The Guerreros didn't have the wrestling authority they used to have because Chavo was always the backup. I mean, he was slightly bigger in WCW, but he was the backup to the two. I mean, he was a star in WCW comparison, but he always played backup. And in all fairness to Chavo, I don't think WWE ever gave, or to this day, Chavo and similar wrestlers like the Big Show. I think what you're doing for him now is a little too late. This is a man that, I mean, we commented on it earlier that Kane and Big Show both comment that they're comfortable with their positions and don't mind doing what they do. But these are people that dedicate their lives to the sport, and for what? To be future endeavored, and this is why, pardon me, this is why I'm so pro, like, benefits for wrestlers, taxes taken out, Social Security, something for them to fall back on for when things like this happen. Any job can fire you. And Vince McMahon likes it more than any other employer in the world. It shortens his payroll. He looks better every quarter. As he reports one poor area, he can report a good area because he's just fired a shit ton of people to make that business area more money. It's not always more money. It's he's leveled the, why do you think they call it spring cleaning, and why we're surprised it hasn't really happened? Or not to the extent we were expecting. Because Vince McMahon doesn't mind cutting the dead weight. Or now, I wouldn't say the dead weight because there's still people there that shouldn't be there, but he'll never, I don't think he thinks about the time these people put in and what they dedicate to it. And the argument comes back to, you have the option of a 401k at a job where your employer matches you most times. Why not have this for wrestlers? Why not have insurance for accidental deaths? So it costs Vince a little bit of money. But look at all the money that sits in Vince's WWE accounts, and not to mention personal profit accounts that Chavo contributed to. We call it the Monday Night War, but it was a war of promotions, and the better promotion came out of it. But if you think about it, whether he was in WWE or WCW, Chavo Guerrero contributed to WWE being successful. Maybe not in the capacity of your Triple H's, your Undertakers, and your John Cena's, your Stone Colds, and your Rocks, but he was part of the showdown where Vince emerged victorious. And what I've always argued with the buyout is the buyout's one thing, but why buy the wrestlers? Why even bother getting their hopes up just to cut away most of them? I mean, that's what's happened. He acquired WCW in 2001, and from 2001 to 2011, we have watched that entire buyout look like it's non-existent. For all intents and purposes. I mean, you have Rey Mysterio, who does well, Booker T, who does okay commentary, funny commentary. I wouldn't say he's good a play-by. I'll never say until he gets better that he's the decent play-by-play, but he has fun out there, and he is starting to learn a little more of the product. But you're getting me on a rant I really didn't want to get on. But moving along, Ring of Honor announces that it has signed its tag team champions to contracts. Ring of Honor announced Monday that they signed ROH tag champions Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin to contracts. Haas and Benjamin successfully defended the ROH tag titles at the Best in the World Internet pay-per-view this past Sunday night. The tag champs are scheduled to defend the titles again on July 8th in Richmond, Virginia, against opponents to be determined. Haas and Benjamin are expected to be centerpiece stars of ROH's second TV run, which begins in September through Sinclair Broadcasting's syndicated TV stations. So ROH finally making it to regular TV. That'll be interesting to watch. Hulk Hogan violent? Linda Hogan losing her mind? Linda Balea, the ex-wife of Hulk Hogan, accused Hulk Hogan of violent rages during the marriage and said she feared for her life during an appearance on NBC's Today Show Tuesday morning. And guess who covered it? TMZ covered Linda's account, which is detailed in her new this woman has an autobiography. Detailed in her new autobiography, Wrestling the Hulk, My Life Against the Ropes. TMZ posted a follow-up story with a response from Hogan, who denied the accusations and claimed Linda is, quote, delusional. Yeah, she is. I'll get into that. During an appearance on Bubba the Love Sponge's podcast, which somebody else must have picked him up, so congratulations, Bubba. We thought you were out of work, but I guess not. First of all, who got all Hulk Hogan's money when they divorced? Who is doing better than he is right now? Who supposedly loved him in the early days when he had no money, but suddenly he's the bad guy? And really, Wrestling the Hulk, My Life Against the Ropes? I don't know. People argue with me about this because I think, yes, my view on divorce is this. You take whatever a number you agree on and multiply it by 2. As long as that person has enough to survive on and live the life, nothing changes in their life that they had with you, and they're financially stable, then they leave with something reasonable for both sides. But that's not how it's played because it's all about the money. And God forbid you don't send them child support checks because mama needs cigarettes. But anyway, moving on to good Hulk Hogan news. Hulk Hogan states that tapings of Impact Wrestling will be done on the road this summer. Prior to an official announcement being made, Hulk Hogan leaked that TNA will begin a regular schedule of TV tapings on the road starting in August. Hogan was quoted, "Can't wait till August and we start going on the road every other taping." Hogan posted this on his Twitter page Monday morning prior to this week's Impact tapings in Orlando. Universal Studios in Orlando is currently listing Impact TV tapings through the month of August, including a set of 3 tapings, August 22nd to the 24th, including a set of 3 tapings, August 22nd to the 24th. The test run for taking Impact on the road was in late February when TNA taped episodes in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Bloomberg News Network to profile WWE's business. Bloomberg, a leading financial news outlet and television network, will be profiling WWE's business. Included in this profile will be a walkthrough tour of WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut, and sit-down interviews with executives Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Bloomberg has posted preview videos of the TV piece, which include Hunter and Stephanie discussing why wrestling or the core product translate into all markets around the world. A second preview video shows Stephanie displaying Hunter's King of Kings gladiator headpiece he wore at WrestleMania. The full interview will air June 29th, 2011 at 9 p.m. Eastern. The 2 clips of husband and wife sit down are available at PW Torch, embedded into this episode if possible, and or posted in our Out of the Rings video tab at the Wrestle Talk Show website, wrestletalkshow.webs.com. As of 4 p.m. today, James Codwell of the PW Torch reports via his Twitter feed that WWE Hall of Famer The Rock has been confirmed for a role in the next upcoming G.I. Joe movie. Details will be updated as we get and confirm them. All Wheels Wrestling Promotion names team captains, former WWE and TNA wrestlers included. The new TNA-backed All Wheels Wrestling Promotion has revealed team captains for the 4-team league: Team Defiance, Team Octane, Team 720, and Team Dino. In Evolve Wrestling news, former let me try that again, guys. And again, I've been a little rusty. I appreciate your patience. But former WWE...
No, it's empty.
Former WWE wrestler and manager Finlay to perform in Evolve. Yeah, a little bit. To perform at the next upcoming Evolve match. The announcement came as this. Former WWE wrestler Finlay announced for Evolve 9 card next month. Former WWE wrestler and agent Dave Finlay has been announced for Evolve's 9th card scheduled for July 26th in New York City. Finlay, who was released from WWE earlier this year, will be matched up against Evolve and Dragon Gate USA rising star Sami Callihan in a bonus main event on the Evolve 9 card. The actual main event has not been announced yet. Finlay is also scheduled for a pre-show autograph appearance. More matches will be announced in the next month, leading to Evolve's latest card. WWE plans HBK and Bret the Hitman Hart Screwjob DVD. Jim Ross details the interview process with each wrestler. WWE plans to release a DVD in October chronicling, that's a word, right? Chronicling the career of Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, leading to the Montreal Screwjob at Survivor Series 1997. WWE announcer Jim Ross says he spent 5 hours on Thursday interviewing Michaels and Hart for the WWE, for the DVD. He described it as no holds barred talk, and Ross added to his Twitter, quote, Bret/HBK DVD out in October. Covers their careers and impact behind the scenes of Montreal 97. Proud of what we got on tape. Open, honest, and compelling. Dragon Gate USA Booker blogs about what may have happened with WWE star Daniel Bryan and Paul Heyman had both men signed on to TNA Wrestling. Dragon Gate USA Booker Gabe Sapkowski, Sapolsky, wrote a new blog in which he laid out Paul Heyman's creative plans for WWE star Daniel Bryan had both men ended up in TNA. Hold on. Wrote a new blog in which he laid out Paul Heyman's and Daniel Bryan's creative plans for WWE star, no, I said that right the first time. Paul Heyman's creative plans for WWE star Daniel Bryan had both men ended up in TNA. Heyman saw Bryan as a star, and part of his plan was to defeat several people by submission in under a minute. To read the rest of the plan, check out Gabe's blog, and if you didn't understand a word I said, feel free to visit Gabe's blog at facebook.com. MMA bill to regulate the sport in New York City encounters a roadblock. A bill to allow regulation of mixed martial arts in New York has once again stalled out in the state assembly. It never ended up on the docket of final legislation of the Ways and Means Committee, and thus it won't be addressed until 2012. For more on the story, visit MMAtorch.com. And that's another site that we'll plug right now, but we keep forgetting to plug. If you're an MMA fan and a wrestling fan, or if you're both and you like the PW Torch, PW Torch does an MMA version, MMAtorch.com, and they do an hour, I believe, Monday through Friday Torchcast livecast. Jim Ross receives yet another honor. WWE Hall of Famer Jim Ross will receive the Lou Thesz Award at the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. The inductions take place on July 22nd and 23rd at the 5 Sullivan Brothers Convention Center in Waterloo, Louisiana. Ross is quoted as saying, "Certainly an honor to receive the Lou Thesz Award at National Wrestling Hall of Fame in Waterloo in July." Ross wrote, quote, "But I never considered myself a ring announcer." Ross's comment was in reference to the press release that mistakenly listed him as a ring announcer. Fellow WWE Hall of Famer Shawn Michaels responded moments later, quote, "Jim Ross was the greatest. No matter what you want to call it, he's the best. Congrats on a well-deserved award. For more information on the museum, visit WrestlingMuseum.org. And as we do every show, we want to get into our plugs. And that starts with this plug that we do all the time. Do you like this video? Do you like what you see? Well, take the time to catch up. Subscribe, comment on our video, refer a friend, post a comment on every video. Your feedback helps us with new topics. If you noticed, I did a topic-driven one on Randy Orton. That was a fan request that got immediately handled. If you want to catch up from the start of our show, when we were just starting out doing the 11 to 15 minute excerpts and had to do a lot of two-parters, you can check that out at youtube.com/CWE Company. And as I said again, every time you like our video, comment on our video, refer it to someone, embed it somewhere, it helps our statistics with Facebook, which helps us grow, which in turn helps us create a better product for you. And furthermore, if you feel even more need to express yourself, visit our online site at wrestletalkshow.webs.com. There you can respond to the forums, ask your own questions, interact with the other fans, and much more. Remember to click the support the show link where you can donate via PayPal via support the show right on the site. Donate as little or as much as you want, but we do understand economic hardship. So the next best thing to money most times, especially with a growing anything, is word of mouth, especially a growing business. So refer a friend, like our videos, donate $1 if you want. All proceeds go to the production of this show and making a better production value for you. And again, send show-related topics, emails, concerns, questions. Interact with us. If you have a topic you want us to do a piece on, wrestling question, personal question, any kind of question, cwecompany@gmail.com is the email to go to. And again, visit our friends James Codwell and Wade Keller for their Monday through Friday hour-long live cast at pwtorch.com. There they cover, like we do, anything and everything wrestling, including, which is why it took so long to make this episode, up-to-the-minute updates on wrestling, both in and out of the ring. And what I'm missing, well, no, I'm 15 minutes away from it, ladies and gentlemen. SmartWrestlingFan.com tonight, 3 hour. They do their 3-hour live coverage of This Week in Wrestling with host Joe Negron and Dishpan from Australia, bringing you their weekly 3-hour podcast of the events of the world of pro wrestling. This occurs every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. We urge you to watch the product live because normally you get 30 minutes to an hour of extra content that Joe ends up editing from the podcast once it's posted. If you could give me a moment, I have to pick something up.
That was good.
Jason Bell at ProWrestling.net does a weekly 45-minute free audio report covering the latest Raw, SmackDown, Impact, pay-per-view, and more. The site and all others mentioned above offer monthly subscriber rates as low as $5 and as high as $10 a month, but that's the PW Torch for $10, and you do get a lot of bang for your buck. But we'll leave you with this, your question for the night. Do you think this CM Punk suspension with less than a month on his contract and him outright saying he does not want to come back to WWE, do you think this is a work? Will we see him at Money in the Bank? I would say we might, but time will only tell. It's a good storyline if they do it, but it also makes sense if it isn't. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for joining me. I'm Joshua Zimmerman. Hope you join me in listening to SmartWrestlingFan.com in 11 minutes. See you there, and have a great night.